If you want to have a fun and exciting universe mode in WWE 2K26, then check out these 5 custom storylines that you can instantly plug and play within your universe mode right now. Our first storyline has some chaos in the world title scene for the men or the women. In the first week following your last PLE, a heel contender is looking to be next in line for the world title. So they go out for a match and would win it in dominant fashion. After the match, they'd have a post-match interview where they would go on to say that they should be next in line for that world title, but out would come another potential #1 contender to confront him or her. The following week, the other contender that came out after last week's match would come out for their own promo where they would call out the world champ as the true #1 contender for their title. That would come your heel contender from last week, who would then attack him or her. Later that night, the 2 contenders would continue brawling backstage as both were refusing to back down from getting their shot at the world title. Then the next week, the GM would set up a #1 contenders match between both contenders to decide who would be going to the PLE to take on your heel world champion. The match would end in a no contest, however, as the heel world champion would ambush both superstars as he or she would look to make a statement to both contenders. And the following get the go home show before your PLE. After last week's match ended without a winner, your GM would then come out for a promo where he or she would announce that the world title would be put on the line in a triple threat match at the upcoming PLE. But it did not end there though, as before the PLE still, the night would end with all 3 superstars continuing to brawl backstage ahead of their heated world title match at the upcoming PLE. Our next storyline is over a mid-card title. After a PLE, your face mid-card champion would come out for a promo saying that they wanted to put their title on the line at the last PLE, but since they weren't given the opportunity to by the GM, they want to have a match tonight in an open challenge for that mid-card title. The face mid-card champion would then go on to retain their title in the open challenge. The following week, a heel would attack that face mid-card champion out of nowhere backstage before making his or her way out of the ring for a promo of their own. The heel would go off on the face champion saying that he or she didn't actually want to face a real threat, which is why they issued an open challenge last week, just so they could have any no-name superstar that was closest to Gorilla to have a chance to come out there so they could have an easy title defense. The loser of last week's match though would come out and challenge the heel to a match, but the heel's response was just to attack that challenger instead of have an actual match. The next week, the GM would schedule the match between the heel and the prior title challenger, but during the match, the face mid-card champion would distract the heel and would cost him or her that match. In the following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the heel would call out the face mid-card champion for their distraction in the prior week, so the champ would then come out to respond by saying that they should be thankful they didn't choose to get revenge with an attack of their own. The heel responds by saying that the champ didn't have an attack of their own because they knew they'd end up getting their ass kicked if they tried. But if they want to put it to the test, then they can meet at the PLE in a title match for the mid-card title. Your face champion accepts at the PLE, they will face one-on-one for that mid-card title. Our next storyline is a chase for the tag team titles. The week following a PLE, your tag team champs put their titles on the line and are able to retain them. But after the match, a heel tag team comes out to the top of the ramp to threaten their reign as they make it clear that they're going to come for the tag team champs titles. So the following week, the heel tag team contenders would continue their threat, by this time actually attacking the face tag team champs backstage, showing that they will not be taken lightly. The week after the attack though, we would see a singles match take place between half of each tag team, but during the match, the heels would take advantage of a ref bump by tossing in a steel chair to illegally steal the win. It wasn't done there though. After the match, they would continue this beatdown of the faces for good measure with that steel chair. The following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the face tag team champ would call out the heels to a tag team title match at the upcoming PLE as they want their revenge. The heels would come out to respond and they would accept this challenge, and just like that, the 2 tag teams would then continue brawling, this time in the ring ahead of their tag team title match at the upcoming PLE. As in the world title scene for the men or the women. In the first week, your former heel world champion comes out for a promo following their loss at a recent PLE, and they call out the new face champion looking for a rematch. The new face champion comes out and says that they don't deserve a rematch for all the cheap antics they used during their title reign, but the champion would have considered giving them the former heel champion a rematch just to prove a point, but the GM already booked a #1 contenders match for next week, and it wouldn't involve the former heel champion. The heel would grow angry and head backstage looking for the GM. Then the following week, the former heel champion would come out for a promo once again, this time calling out the GM after not being able to find them backstage last week. The GM comes out and says that the heel had their chance with the title, but now it's time for him to go to the back of the line, and so new contenders can have their rightful opportunity. The heel will respond by saying that if this is how it's gonna be, then he or she will go and get their opportunity themselves, leaving the GM and the fans not knowing what the heel exactly means with that statement. Later that night, the number one contenders match would take place in the main event, but once the match ended, the former heel champion would enter the ring and attack both superstars from the number one contenders match. The following week, the number one contender for the world title would call out the heel in a promo, which would lead to the former heel champion to come out to respond. But before saying anything, he or she would attack the new number one contender once again. The former heel champion would not be done with their aggression for that night, as he or she would then go on to attack the new face champion backstage, making it clear that they are coming for whoever is in the world title picture. Next week, the go-home show before the PLE, the show would open with the former heel champion once again attacking the number one contender for coming out for a promo, where he or she would say that the attacks will not stop until they're given a world title match. The number one contender would not stay down though after the attack and would come out to respond to the heel, saying that if the only way to get rid of the heel for good was to allow them in the world title match and make it a triple threat, then they would agree. But if the heel loses, then he or she must leave the brand. The heel is angered by the stipulation, but would agree before attacking the number one contender one final time, heading into the PLE world title triple threat match. And will also take place in the world title scene for the men or the women. In the first week, at the latest PLE, your face world champion would retain their world title, but would quickly be targeted by a heel faction leader, as he or she would come out for a promo stating that they wanted the next shot at the world title. The world champion would not come out to respond, but rather a face challenger would, and they would challenge the heel to a match next week to become the number one contender. The heel would agree, and the match would become official. The following week, in the main event, the heel faction leader would take on the face challenger to become the new number one contender, but during the match, a member of the heel's faction would try to distract the face at ringside, but it did not go to plan, as the face challenger would be able to take out both the heel faction members. But even with this momentum during the match, the face wouldn't be able to get the win, as the heel faction leader would steal the win with a roll-up to become the new number one contender. Next week, the heel faction leader would come out for a promo, calling out the champion now that they are the number one contender. The world champion would come out to respond, and he or she would call out the heel for trying to use the numbers game last week before mocking them for its failure. This would lead the heel number one contender to attack the world champion in the ring. The following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the world champion would come out for a promo and call out the heel for their attack last week, but the heel would not come out, but rather instead the face loser of the number one contenders match, and he or she would tell the world champion that he or she would have their back during their world title match at the PLE. Later that night in the main event, the face world champion and the face contender would take on the heel faction leader and one of their faction members in a tag team match, where the winning side would gain some momentum heading into the world title match. Has some tag team title chaos. In the first week, a face tag team has recently won the tag team titles and decides to come out for a promo where they declare they want to be fighting champions and look to challenge any team that wants to come for their titles at the upcoming PLE. Later that night, Tag Challengers A would come out for a promo advocating for themselves to get a shot at the title, but they would be quickly interrupted by Tag Challengers B, saying that they are more suited to compete for the titles. At the end of the night, Tag Challengers C would attack Tag Challengers B backstage, as they already have had some issues with them in the past, but now the tag title shot up for grabs, Tag Challengers C are making it clear they want to enter the mix. The following week, Tag Challengers C would come out and explain that they attacked Tag Challengers B because they are beneath them and don't deserve the opportunity before them. The face tag team champions would come out to confront Tag Challenger C, as they say Tag Challenger C won't be sniffing a chance at their titles if they keep it up with all of these attacks. But Tag Challenger C would then attack the tag team champions, clearly showing they don't care or respect whatever they say. The next week, Tag Challengers B would get revenge on Tag Challenger C by attacking them backstage. Later in the night, a 4v4 tag match was set up, as the tag team champions and Tag Challengers B would take on Tag Challengers A and Tag Challengers C. Next week at the Go Home show though, Tag Challengers C would this time attack Tag Challengers A, as they were bothered by how they believed Tag Challengers A were trying to steal their spotlight in last week's match. Later that night, the GM would come out for a promo where he or she would say that after all of this chaos this past month, the only decision that makes sense is for the tag titles to be put on the line in a 4-way TLC match at the upcoming PLE.